And welcome to another episode of Keepin Orange and Blue. I'm Ryan Evan, joined as always by my main man, Urbana's finest, Kevin Ducey. What's up, Kevin? What's up? Anything interesting going on with you this week?
Yeah, just happy Father's Day, man. Appreciate this. Being on the show as always. Been a little bit since we were on. Obviously took a little bit of hiatus for Father's Day, and then my wife's birthday was actually yesterday, so had to do some time to celebrate that. But there's a lot of ruminations going on, and you are the keeper of the secrets. You are the man in the know, far better than I am. But I will say this: I'll start off the show. I won't finish it with Adrien Demont Duchaussert. In 2 professional tournaments, he's got a first and the tied for first, and he lost in a playoff. So the dude is going to be on the PGA Tour in just a matter of time. It's really pretty cool stuff. So that was a real highlight from yesterday. I know Sunday. I know everybody, the golf fans were watching the U.S. Open. I was paying attention to that Korn Ferry Tour as well, and I'm a little disappointed he decided not to play this weekend in Norman on the Korn Ferry Tour here in Oklahoma. I'd have gone and seen him. But dude, Ryan, the question, buddy, things going on, man. We got AAU hoops, summertime hoops kickstarting. We have the best recruit we've had in years, and you've got the scoop. What's going on with our guy, Mr. Morez Johnson, man?
I mean, I got to be honest too, and I was telling a close friend of mine who covers the team, and is on the inside there, maybe more than I am, even to a degree. But I thought, a couple years ago when Morez Johnson was first committed, we're like, who is this guy? Oh, he's a top 40 kid, That was back in 2021, and you're like, oh, he's about to be a sophomore. You're like, I'm sure he's good, but that's so far away to help the program. How much can you be super excited about somebody that's going to be 3 years away, and hopefully the commit sticks, But it has stuck, and let me tell you, Morez Johnson has been – I think he's better than I think anybody thought, and he's coming along in literally every facet that you would like. He dominated this weekend at the Riverside Brookfield tournament up in Chicago. Basically, the best kids in the state, the best teams in the state all played there, and he transferred, of course, to Thornton, where Ty Rogers finished his high school career. And of course, Mean Streets, where he plays, Mean Streets AAU. Mm-hmm. That's ran. Thornton is coached by Ty Streets, the former Michigan wide receiver.
And Tim Anderson.
Yep, and very close, good friend with Tim Anderson. So that connection obviously makes sense. But it's not just he's bigger than everybody, so he's able to dominate in the paint. It's his rebounding prowess. It's his nasty, fierce, competitive nature that has just basically reared its head and just said, like, this dude just wants it more than everybody else. So not only is he, bigger and probably stronger than a lot of the kids, but I think one of the big problems is does he have that switch, Kevin? Because there's a lot of bigger, there's a lot of kids that are good, 6'9", 6'10", but they don't have that, like, I'm going to own the paint, I'm going to own the glass, and I'm going to be the best player on this court. And that's how he plays every game. Now, why am I saying Morez Johnson should be, and I think he will be, a 5-star before it's all said and done? And I'm going to predict right now he's going to be the next Illinois. He's going to be the next Mr. Basketball. He's going to be the next McDonald's All-American for the state.
5-star. Yes. I watched his highlights. I've been watching his highlights. I've been paying attention to him. The thing that's so unique about Morez, right? He committed as a sophomore, is going into his senior year, is that he was on a team with at least an AAU ball, but his basketball team was with James Brown, guy who went to North Carolina. I think Nojus was on his summer team too, or was at St. Rita with him as well. And there was talk that Morez was number 3 out of the 3 guys. And it's funny is like, as he's grown, like I saw it initially, I thought he was better than Brown. I'll just stand by it.
Yeah.
I'm Illinois biased. Everybody knows that. Like, I'm not going to deny that. But I watched Mackenzie Mbako out of Roselle Catholic going to Indiana, 5-star kid, number 8 nationally, number 2 position-wise. He's going to play for Indiana this year. I don't see that he does anything better than Morez Johnson. And this was a top 10 kid in last year's class. Now, that being said, I'm not in the know anymore. I'm not read in college basketball recruiting like I used to be. I mean, the transfer portal has affected that. But I don't know how much, if the 24 class is better than the 23 class or if there's much difference there. But I think legitimately Morez Johnson is a top 10 prospect. The guy hit 3 of 6 three-pointers on Sunday, 3 of 6 from 3. I don't know that we've ever heard him shoot threes before at all. You talked about, like, if he outside.
And what's scary about that, Kev, is that if he's doing that, he's not going to be in Champaign very long.
No, and that would stink to only have him for a year. It would stink to have a commitment for a guy for 3 years. I mean, very similar to Jeremy Richmond, right? We got him to commit before he even played a high school basketball game, I think. And and then we got 1 year of him in Illinois. But in this regard, he would leave for a lottery pick. And if you could get a guy to come to school and leave for a lottery pick, it'd be huge for the program. And Yo Ma, appreciate you, man.
Master, we're gonna get to the master of disaster.
I know he's like, we're a football school. I want to talk football. We'll get to that, but there's actually I talked about it. I'm an in between the lines guy. I've always been an in between the lines guy, and we had some stuff that happened in between the lines, though it may not have been on Illinois' campus, and it may not have been for the University of Illini yet. But a recruit like to do what Morez did this weekend is worth talking about and sharing with the peoples.
100% now. So my prediction, we'll see if it bodes well. I was right on Shannon. We got Shannon and Hawkins back. I put my Swami on the line. Missed on Ray J, but my Reeves pick, I'm on that hill right now. I'm still there. Antonio Reeves is lingering, so we're going to be talking about 2024. And Morez Johnson I have is the next McDonald's All-American to play at Illinois. And I think it's a good thing if he only plays 1 or 2 years at Illinois because that means success. So who could be next, though, Kevin? Okay. Who could be next to join him? And, of course, at that same Riverside tournament up in Chicago, it's good for the staff was out in full force, okay? Alexander was there. Yeah. Tim Anderson was there. Brad Underwood was there. Now, if Brad Underwood likes a kid, all right, I'm thinking that there's a really good chance if he's offering the kid that it's not just one of those offers that we see that, just doesn't really mean as much, or we're not really sure. But Illinois offered 3-star power forward from Yorkville, Jason Jackstis. Okay.
Yeah.
Near 6'11", has a great touch in the paint, very skilled. I think he's listed at 6'10", but he's more like 6'11", it sounds like. He's got offers from a lot of the best mid-major teams, a lot of Ivy League schools. And so at the bottom, Yale just offered him a little bit ago, and Yale's been a powerhouse in the Ivy League. And so Ryan Padone at Illinois State just offered him. I think a lot more high majors are coming on him, and that's why Underwood pulled the trigger right now, because you don't want it to necessarily. I don't know if necessarily Cole Serta is a good example, but I think that's a reason to say, hey, if we really did like this kid, and even if he's a kid that could develop in 2 or 3 years, it's worth an offer. We like him. Let's not let all these other teams get out in front of us here. And so Illinois offered him. Brad Underwood offered him. I actually spoke to him, did my due diligence.
Yeah.
I did my due diligence. I don't need no damn loyalty message board. I don't need any message boards to give me what I need, which is okay if you do. But I don't feel like I'm giving you something different, though, if I'm just telling you what other people said. So I asked him earlier, and I said, hey, are you planning on visiting again soon? Because remember, he visited in January of this year. He said that him and his family have talked about taking another unofficial visit very soon. Okay, obviously he'd be taking an official later in the year probably. And I asked him what it meant for Illinois to offer him. Like I said, I don't really know. Have you been an Illinois fan your whole life? Like, is it special even to have your, is it special for you to have your state school offer you? And he told me that it does. And he's grown up watching the Illini program. And it's very, very cool to have an opportunity to play for his state school. So, not just because he said that, but I think that Illinois is in a very good position to land him. I think if Brad Underwood and them press the issue and continue on him, and to take another visit, take his official visit, that he's going to end up being one of the next, if not the next, to join Morez. And here's like, well, you got Morez who can play the 4 or 5, and Jason who could play the 4 or 5. Morez is going to be an instant impact kid, so we don't know if he's going to be there a couple years.
Right.
This is a guy that's going to develop in a couple years and be a guy who you could say could play the stretch 4 or play 5 too. But I like this kid, and if Brad Underwood's on him, Brad Underwood likes him. He had an impressive weekend. I think this would be a nice addition, Kevin.
I agree. He's going to be like I heard somebody say this, maybe like a Ryan Kalkbrenner, very tall, very skinny. What do you have, like 11 blocks in one of the games in Riverside?
Yes, and it was Kendall, and Phoenix Gill. He blocked like several of his shots in a game. So yeah.
So that's exciting. Illinois is going to continue to build there, and I think with the transfer portal now, you can actually build. You can actually work projects, right? I think there was a level at one point in time where you had to get instant impact guys, and I think you get an instant impact guy like Morez, and you get a guy like this kid, and let him mature and build over time. So I'm excited about what we're doing there. I know it's not a 4 or 5 star kid, but the staff's done a pretty good job on seeking out some guys who are a little bit underrated and that end up pulling it off really well. So.
And you know what? If he ends up turning out to be like a Frank Kaminsky type, we'll be okay with that,
Yeah, just a little bit. Ethan Happ.
Yeah, it's like this isn't necessarily just because of those. But again, this is the type of guy in 3 or 4 years where Yale's in the Sweet 16. We're like, where's that kid from? And it's like, oh, Yorkville. Hey, did we even care to offer? No.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, no, we didn't. We were looking for the next top 100 kid that would transfer in 2 years. So I like it. That's what's happening there with the 24 class. A bunch of other, quality kids I know they're working to get visits with. But this is a current event. This is what's happening. Swami he thinks that this is going to be one of the next additions to join Morez. And obviously we could talk about Phoenix Gill a little bit. I mentioned him. He had a very nice weekend too. He was impressive. He was impressive for the 2025 class. A big body guard already who I think is going to end up being probably similar to his dad, near about 6'5", rangy, attacking the glass, rangy with a nice athleticism. So this is a kid that I think Illinois is going to be pushing for. And, I know they'd already offered him, but I think that this is a guy that if Illinois wants, I think that Phoenix will come to Illinois. So we'll see how that works in the next year. But he's for the class of 2025.
And that's one of those deals. There's certain guys when they leave the program, when they graduate onto other things, that don't really carry the flag for the Illini, and that's okay. You get what's going on there. Kendall Gill has always carried the flag for Illini. He's never shied away by being a fan favorite. He's one of my all-time favorite players. I'm old enough to actually watch him play. Met Kendall several times when he was in college, and I was just a goofy little kid who was super excited to see him play. And remember when he was so skinny he had to hoist his feet forward to shoot his 3-pointers, and then into being 20-point a game scorer in the senior year in the Big Ten, and all Big Ten first team, just top 10 NBA draft pick. Just all the things that he did, but he never stopped wearing the Illini flag and everything that he's ever done. He's embraced that. So I do think this is one of the times where the legacy will win for us. We've lost some legacy kids, and I think we'll win on this one if the staff identifies that Phoenix is the guy they want to make a priority.
Yeah, and I would be really surprised if they don't, push for him and make him a priority. And it's not just because, it's Kendall Gill's son. I think it's because he's a quality kid in state. And I think by that time, too, the guard play and the guard, there's going to be a lot more room going with transitioning from
Yeah.
Luke Goody. And, they'll still be, I know, Lawhorn. And but think about this. If Harmon gets in, he's going to be gone. DeMosk's leaving after this year. There's going to be tons of room for guard play. So I really expect them to go after Phoenix Gill. But now on the football front, Kevin, Illinois is hosting currently a really big defensive defensive recruit who, definitely not light on the foot, but he's, Ohio State is a favorite projected for this kid. So Illinois is hosting. We mentioned the school last week. We were wrong. What school does he go to?
He's at Kenwood.
Yeah, Kenwood. Lightfoot from Kenwood, who's, all the Ohio State fans are freaking out because he tweeted, earlier today, like, I'm not committed anywhere. And then they're all, trying to kiss his butt, like, oh, we still love you, though. You're like, oh, please, we can't wait to see you. We're sorry we upset you. But I can tell you this, while Ohio State may be the favorite, I know Illinois feels like they're in pretty good shape and that they can get a commitment from them. Not in good shape in sense of we're leading, but this isn't a courtesy visit, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, this kid is, he's 6'5", 230-pound edge, outside linebacker, defensive end. And he looks like the second coming of Martez Wilson, right? And he is,
Marquise Lightfoot, just so y'all know.
Yeah,
Kenwood Academy.
Yep. His final six is like Illinois, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Miami, and Southern Cal. It's just incredible what the level of where we're at here fighting for this kid. But I do think he's interested, and I do think Illinois has something to sell him. Illinois is going to put some defensive linemen in the NFL in this next NFL draft. We just put some DBs in the NFL. There's an opportunity to come in and play right away at Illinois. There's going to be a little bit less of a depth chart problem at Illinois than there is at Ohio State or Alabama or Georgia. The other schools I can't comment on that, but there's opportunities for him to come and play. And if he sees that light and stay home, be a little bit different, be a little bit game changer. Illinois is a little bit cooler. Illinois is a little bit sexier right now than it has been. And I wouldn't say, I think we're the front runner or I really like our chances because these are always an uphill battle. But I think we got a shot here, though. Like you said, this isn't a courtesy visit. So this is huge for this team.
Okay, so here's Ryan putting on his more of like in tune glasses for this is my football thing where I get into it. So 2 sources here, and one in particular told me this: why Illinois feels that they have a really good chance. He's really big on development, I was told, and it's not necessarily about the name and I want to go be on a team that's going to go to the semifinal every year. He's worrying about himself developing as a player into an NFL prospect. He sees all the good players on Illinois' defensive line. He sees how Gabe Jacobs performed last year and how it had such a huge impact in one season. Also, Illinois adding Charles Bolin is a big deal here, okay?
Yeah.
Bolin is his main recruiter.
Yeah.
Bolin is there driving him around, showing him around. A guy with several years of NFL experience coaching, helping develop really good players. I think this guy knows how to get to the NFL, how to stay there, and what you need to do to put yourself at that level. So I think Illinois is in a better spot than many people think. He's a top 130 national kid. That'd be a huge deal. I'd love to sit here and say, like, I think they're going to get it done because it's against Ohio State. But I can tell you that I could look you in the eye right now and say it wouldn't surprise me. I know that they're laying out the red carpet, and the middle of the week visit's always tough. But when you have your own visit pretty much by yourself saying, we want you, we're prioritizing you, I know that means a lot to young men. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the Illinois is going to give him more attention and focus than anybody else. And so it's huge, and there's other things that are happening that haven't happened in the program in a long time. For instance, Braylon Burnside, he committed to Mississippi State today, but he released a final six, and his final six was Mississippi. This is a high 4-star kid. Mississippi State, Arkansas, I think Texas A&M, Auburn. And I mean, so it's like Illinois is getting in the mix with some of these kids on the football level now that we haven't seen in a long time. We haven't seen since the Ron Zook days, to be honest with you, from a recruiting standpoint. And I'm excited what we're trying to what they're trying to do now. There was a little bit there where it seemed like Brett and staff were really comfortable recruiting like the lower 3-star kids, looking at projects and building them up and trying to get them, let them sit for a little bit and move up the charts, if you will, and then eventually play. But then now we're going after these big dogs, and Jason Ron says quite a few in town tomorrow. Today, few recruits in town right now. Tomorrow, paintball game. So more kids here. It's just really exciting what they're doing, and we're getting involved. And I've said it before on this show. I'm very bullish on what this team does from this fall. If they have a really good season this fall, you'll see more and more of these things. Is that the Brett Bielema is running this program like a CEO, and I am confident that we are going to see sustained success here in the Bielema era that I personally have never experienced, and Ryan, I know that you've never experienced, because the closest thing I can get is the Makovic, Mike White era.
Yeah, I was a toddler then. But Kevin, I know. So while we're on this topic really quickly, I don't think it's the younger generation. I have to say this, like the guys at Armchair Illinois, they don't have a clue what they're talking about because they're not old enough to know. Like their top 10 QB list, and they're good guys. Like Alex Keys is a nice dude. He's going to be I think he's a doctor. He just does that because he likes Illinois sports. Yeah. But yeah, he wasn't old enough to even know Jeff George was Illinois' quarterback. Like I know he wasn't born yet. So I just know that, you kind of got a chuckle out of that. And I'm like, because those guys are like 27, like they don't have a clue that like Kirk Kittner's God to them because they were little kids and saw him lead, Illinois to the Sugar Bowl. So which I have to say, I was 3 when Jeff George was the quarterback, but right. Kirk Kittner was the best quarterback that have gotten to see, like throwing the ball downfield and accuracy wise. Not the best, obviously athletic wise, running with Shieldhouse and Juice breaking all the records for yards, but Kittner is the last quarterback to lead Illinois to a Big Ten title. So,
well, but it's the same way that, if I'm breaking out a top 10 Illinois quarterbacks list, I'm not putting Mike Talafiero on there. He played 8 years in the NFL, or Perry Moss or Tommy O'Connell. They won Rose Bowls. Like I'm just, I never watched those guys play, and also it was a different area where those guys didn't really throw the football that much. I didn't watch Dave Wilson play, and I have very, very vague recollections of watching Tony Eason play. But this is a level like Illinois went and like Mike White started it and then had some dull years where you got let go. Like 86, 87 were not good years back to back. 88 starts to rebound, 89, 90 great years back to back. And then, Makovic left and Tepper had some bowl teams. I mean, we were going to bowls pretty much every year. We were winning teams. But like this, what I think we're going to be in line for is I think you're going to be able to pencil Illinois in between 7 and 9 wins every year for the foreseeable future with the staff for a while now. And I'm really excited about it. And there's a couple things we need to do as fans is we need to appreciate it, and we need to get our butt in the seats. Like I have to real stadium.
And I have to make mention of this. Rod Nell, Mr. Frazier back at it. Rod,
the Illinois flag.
Yes, right. If you're still watching, we got to get together and we need to get Trent on the show and talk about his professional career.
Amen. Hopefully safe, praying for his safety in Russia, no doubt about it.
Yeah, like he's killing it there, and I think he's going to get his chance over here eventually. So I would like to talk to you about it. If we could get him on here, that'd be so fun. I mean, I always had fun talking to Trent. You know, I got to do that interview with him after his freshman year, and which was awesome. So, yeah, so we appreciate you watching, Rod. I'm glad you chose tonight to check in. I'll answer a couple more questions here while we get the chance before we can get to the last couple topics. Let's see. Illinois is not looking at Kirk Risa because they don't have enough NIL to pay him.
He's clearly a bad guy. He's all against the money. There's some other guys there, but I don't know that they're pure point guards. And everybody there's blood in the water there. That'd be a tough one. Could we potentially steal one? Yeah, maybe.
Will Aaliyah Guyton? I think Illinois is in pretty well with Aaliyah Guyton. You know, she doesn't have Indiana on her list, which is really good for Illinois.
Right.
And I know her dad is not one of those guys that's like tries to force his child to go where he went. I think he's all supportive of what she wants to do. And I think what Shauna Green's building is super enticing. And I think after this season, it may be even more enticing.
Listen, I think it was one of those things like we wanted AJ Guyton when he played in Peoria.
It wasn't like Illinois just shat on him, you know?
Right. It was one of those. It wasn't like a Frank Kaminsky deal or one of these deals where, we screwed up the recruitment. It's just Indiana was a better program and in a better spot at the
time. And again, thanks for tuning in, Jason. We've prayed for everything for you guys, and I think everything's doing really well with him and his boy and health wise. And I think he's doing his flag football league with Isaiah Williams and Keith Randolph. So that's awesome, man. So, and Master, we appreciate you always jumping on here and giving us your Master critique. Which you seem to be decently in tune with football, which I like.
Yeah, he's in the know.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna. Yeah, you said it. But he had a question on here earlier, and I wanted to mention I just wanted to make it its own topic too, because about football commits, like who could be the next one? When should we expect a new one? And we talked about him last week, actually, Kevin. This guy I'm about to mention, but I think the Illinois will be getting a flip at some point soon.
Vernon Woodard, right?
Yeah, Vernon Woodard, because he mentioned him earlier about a flip anyway. And why he picked Wisconsin out of nowhere, nobody knows. But I think Illinois made a big enough impression when he came back and visited, and he knows what's there. I got him likely flipping back to Illinois. And I think I'm not the only one that feels that way. I think there's other guys that cover recruiting that have a good grasp on the situation. But I like to mention it on this because I know most people watching this are probably not in those factors. And we do appreciate you all watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, it's growing and growing and growing. And Kev, there's a new thing there. If you're 500 subscribers, you're able to start making money off of it. Can you believe that? We're more than halfway there, Kev. So, I mean, that's just a bonus. The money would be getting put back into this, but if you haven't subscribed, please do. We appreciate you. We just doing it for fun. And I noticed our I got an email. It was like a new YouTube policy is if you have 500 subscribers, you can start making money. And I'm thinking, why are they sending me this? I was like, I only have 100. And then I look and I'm like, wait a second, 232. I was like, okay. I'm like, we're building on YouTube. So we appreciate that.
So hit the like, hit the subscribe.
Like, subscribe, all that. And not just that, but give it some rates on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
And check it out, folks. We get to 500 subscribers. Ryan will be able to buy shirts with sleeves. And maybe I'll get a better camera.
Hey, man, you have a way better laptop than me. I don't want to hear it. Actually, dude, I don't care about going to the gun show sometimes. You got to, It was 109 heat index here today, Kevin. So
I live in Oklahoma, don't want to hear it.
What'd you say?
I live in Oklahoma, I don't want to hear it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the weather's so much worse than Oklahoma. Illinois, central Illinois is pretty muggy. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Vernon Woodard. Let's see what we got here.
Well, I also say this, like, friends with Aaron Henry, and Aaron posted something on his Facebook today about like a commit a watch, and I was
Dude, I
like,
think that was a joke. If you look at the bottom of that, look at it again.
okay,
There's a bunch of laughing faces on it, but
all right,
there's a bunch of laugh emojis on it.
all right, I missed it.
But
I don't ask him about that stuff. Like,
you should sometimes be like, "What's this about?" But your master said that AJ Guyton didn't want to play with the other Peoria kids, all those Peoria guys on the team.
Well, that'd have been Hester back then. This was like 96, 97 when AJ came into town. So before Frank, Sergio, and Marcus.
Well, I guess what the point would be is his sophomore and junior year, he would have been playing with Frank and all those guys.
Yeah, by then, and then those guys were committed. And like I said, Illinois recruited him. Illinois wanted AJ, and just went to Indiana. So fresh coming off the probation, it was just not.
So when could Illinois expect another commit? And while what Aaron Henry said was maybe a joke, I think Illinois soon is going to find out who that final commit from the weekend 2 weekends ago. Remember what Brett tweeted? Remember we were talking about it? We were talking about what did Brett Bielema's tweet mean? And it wasn't just a tweet for the recap the weekend. It was a new one. That's why he said, let's keep it rolling. Yeah. Because they had another one. And I think this kid just kind of wanted to wait. And I was told, obviously, there's a bunch of kids coming this weekend. There's still some players there now. I was told we're going to find out who it is this weekend who committed about 9-10 days ago. So it's coming. It's coming soon, the next 5 or 6 days. But I think this person, whoever it is, has their own reason to just wait. You never know why they are, but maybe they wanted their own moment. Maybe there was a reason that maybe they committed before they even took their visit this week.
And if it is Woodard, I mean, I'd be really thrilled with that. I mean, that's a 6'2", 200-pound corner already. I mean, like, the guy's got some great size to him. 3-star kid committed to Wisconsin, borderline 4-star. It'd be a great get. Probably could be play safety if need be. I mean, that'd be huge. So.
Yep. So I'm expecting another one here soon this week. And, so I couldn't be more happy with where Brett Bielema is taking the program, even though they like to be super secretive. Let's see. How many commits do we get from the upcoming weekend? Over or under 5? I'm going to say under.
Yeah, I mean, we got 6 left. I'm going
to say.
That was ridiculous.
And I saw, too, with the rankings, don't let it be fooled where Illinois is right now, technically. So for a reason, like Minnesota has 19 commits, and look at what kind of commits they are.
Yeah, our average star rating is much better than theirs. So.
So they're above Illinois because they have 19, okay? Like, you could throw 19 me and Kevin's on there, and they'd probably be above Illinois too, because it's just a bunch of people, like, just bodies. But I think Illinois is getting quality bodies in places of need, which is great. And they're also doing well in state, which something Lovey neither cared or could do, which is a huge difference. So everything to me is going. Go ahead, Kev.
And we're not losing kids in the transfer portal. Like, we lost very few players leaving the transfer portal. So where you don't, and those that we lost, we probably replaced just about the same. So you don't have to go out there and have a big 3 class loaded with low 3 stars or no star kids, right? We don't have to do that. It's a nice place to be.
So you know what? I'm trying to think. Football commit's coming soon. Not sure when the next hoops commit is, but I told you who it's going to be. We covered Morez. I'm trying to think. Besides the next big golf sensation, you covered that.
Yeah. How about this one? Real quick question, and then we'll probably put a bow on it. Is Isaiah Williams a future NFL player for Sean Garner? Maybe. I will tell you this, that Isaiah does a lot of really interesting things from that slot position. He's got some good hands. He makes the tough catches sometimes and drops the easy ones. His ability to run after the catch is really awesome. He's stronger and a little thicker than I think people give him credit for. What Isaiah is going to have to do is just run really well at the combine. I mean, he's probably a 4.55 guy. He'd probably have to get into 4.48 really to get a good size.
Yeah, and you would hope he could be quicker than that because he's so. I think it's his agility and quickness. His side to side is what's special. You know, what I mean?
It's not a straight line speed. It's not.
Yeah. It's just he'll break your ankle. He can stop on a dime.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why I think he's going to get a chance. He has to be a lot more sure-handed this year too, though.
Yeah. I mean, he makes tough catches, so he's got good hands, but he does drop some easy ones.
Yeah,
he'll shine in like the 3-cone drill and the 10 and 20-yard shuttles, those things, because of his lateral quickness. It's just a matter of like how big are his hands going to measure, how well is he going to run a 40. Will he be able to be featured in the offense this year or next year and run some verticals? Can he do that? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, there's aspects of like as a pure slot receiver in the NFL, what can you do? He runs that whip route as good as anybody since Wes Welker and Julian Edelman. So, I mean, there's potential.
Too, and last but certainly not least, before we get to our final thoughts, Kev, I have to
throw it up.
Before we bow it up, and I'm not, and pretty much in good time, is I have to mention our sponsor. I mean, we have to.
Hometown Hype.
Scott Davies at hometownhypeapparel.com. He's already getting hits. He's getting people calling, Kev, and I'm super excited about that. Hometownhypeapparel.com. You can get a hold of him at 217-278-0120. It's your only School of the Month subscription where you can get any. We're getting shirts coming ourselves, Kev. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely.
We're gonna be repping that here soon. So basically, your only hometown local School of the Month club. That's a subscription based service for your T-shirts, and I believe they have other like long sleeve shirts, even hoodies. If your school's not on there, you can add it and start getting the gear and the clothing that you want for your school to rep your town, your city, and get that ball rolling. I've got a local school here in town in Decatur who's already called him. Their booster club called him, and was checking out their pricing, and they're getting the ball rolling on that, which I'm super excited about. So me and Kevin will be repping some of that gear, and but yeah, don't be last. Get on the ball, be first. And I'm sure there's plenty of people watching who may be from smaller towns here where maybe they're not making their own apparel. Get a hold of Scott there at hometownhypeapparel.com and get a hold of him again at 217-278-0120. So, Kevin, I'll let you put your final thought and wrap this up, and then I'll go. So, what's up, Kevin? Give me your final thought.
It's funny. It's like a quiet period. Like there's a ton of things happening, but it's all behind the scenes right now. And I'll just keep coming back to this. Football program's in great shape. The football program is in the best shape it's been in since John Makovic left. And I am so excited with what they're doing. And I just urge the fans, like, hey, listen, might not get a Lightfoot, might not get a Dupree, might not get some of these 4-star kids, but these dudes are seriously considering us. Like, I know we got some of that in the Lovey era, but those were always it felt like they were one-offs. I think this is going to be a little bit more consistent, especially the kids who are local. So just Illinois football is in a great spot, and I'm super excited with where they're going.
Yes. So to answer Maddie's Fisk, MacArthur is where I went. Yes. This is my my stepdaughter, Maddie, who has her own YouTube channel, who likes to do all these funny YouTube shorts. Shout out Maddie Fisk, follow her if you have 14, 15, 16-year-old girls that like to be silly. So she commented on here. She's in Florida visiting her grandma. I told her, don't embarrass me and say silly things. But yes, MacArthur is where I went to high school, and I do need to get my own MacArthur gear for sure. So there you go, Maddie. You owe me $10. Okay. Or 20. So my final thought is I'm really thinking that Ty Rogers and Drave Lawhorn are going to be able to handle the point guard duties, but I think Ty Rogers is going to do a whole lot better job than people think. I know it's going to be a work in progress, but from what I've been told, it seems like he's got that natural playmaking ability. I don't think people are going to be super thrilled or on board with it right away, but I have confidence in him. I think he's a high IQ kid. He cares, and he's super athletic, and he can handle the ball. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Illinois gets Reeves or not, because he's not going to have the ball in his hands all the time either. Also, I think DGL is what I'm going to call him, Draven Gibbs Lawhorn, is going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's going to be a whole lot better than people think, and is going to have some big games. I think he's going to have some freshman of the week type, situations where he goes off for 15, has a couple highlight dunks, hits 3 3-pointers in a game. He's just a special athlete, and he's got that want to prove people wrong. And I've heard rave reviews on him as well. Dunking on folks, Kevin.
Yes. Poked on our boy Demas, supposedly.
Yeah, and give him the bitter beer face, but he accepted that like a 23-year-old should. Okay, and just move on and just say move on to the next one. But he's still using the flamethrower. So, yeah, I'm excited about this season. And even without a point guard from the portal, I think with improved three-point shooting, which the team will have, we'll have experience, a lot more experience, a lot less youth, and another season for Dane to get acclimated. And I think Hansberry's a guy that you can depend on. But I think this season is going to be a whole lot better than people think, but they're worried about not getting Ray J. Dennis, because the Ray J. Dennis felt like a big gut punch to many people.
It did. I would say that if Ray J had committed, the Illinois fans would be in a lot calmer space, but they'd still find something to be frustrated with. Going back to your initial point on your final thought there, Ant Wright did some clips on his Twitter. It's Ant Wright of Ty Rogers facilitating running point at Illinois. And Ant has vested interest here. He's a Ty guy. He's known Ty since he was in high school with Michigan guys. You go watch those clips and you could see Ty running some really nice plays as a point guard, facilitating, getting the bucket, scoring. I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all. Like, that's who we need to be as a team, but it's not as bad as people think it would be if Ty Rogers is our starting point guard.
Nope. And, again, I talked to enough people behind the scenes to see how things are going when they're playing right now. And I remember this is June. We've got 3 or 4 more months of that, and then you get into October. And, again, I think it's going to be a surprise and a shock a lot of people. And here's another thing for him. He's going to make himself a whole lot more money if he can handle it and show what a 6'5", 6'6" stud with super high, 40-inch vertical, who can handle and facilitate a team. He's doing it because he knows he can make the league too and make himself improve his stock a whole lot quicker. So I know there's a lot of good reasons for him, but I believe in him, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. So
I agree. I think there's definitely some opportunities for him to do some big things there. So.
All right. Well, here we go. We're going to wrap it up before 10. Again, we appreciate all of you guys. It's been a thrill this year building this show and doing it with my buddy Kevin here. Follow him at Illini Deuce. Again, we appreciate you on Spotify. Subscribe there. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. And again, of course, on YouTube channel. That thing is going up like this. So we appreciate you. We'll have some more guests on it. I'm working on some guests for the next show on Sunday. So have a great week, everybody. Swallow me out.
ILL.
I-N-I.